Like to thank my buddy, long time friend I grew up with, world-renowned drummer Bobby Rock. Thank you. Show will begin in 10 seconds.
acto que será liderado por el comandante general de la Guardia de Honor Presidencial para los más de 1.000 jóvenes que serán juramentados hoy de las 8 otras actividades. Vemos
Javier José Marcano Tabata, comandante de unidades superiores, comandante de regiones y directores de línea de la Dirección General de
militar con una formación ardua en distintas especializaciones para luego ir
Hoy dando lucidez a este significativo acto de juramentación del contingente.
Bolívar, padre Bolívar.
acto que será liderado por el comandante general de la Guardia de Honor Presidencial para los más de 1.000 jóvenes que serán juramentados hoy de las 8 otras actividades. Vemos
Javier José Marcano Tabata, comandante de unidades superiores, comandante de regiones y directores de línea de la Dirección General de
militar con una formación ardua en distintas especializaciones para luego ir
Hoy dando lucidez a este significativo acto de juramentación del contingente.
Bolívar, padre Bolívar.
Venezuela tiene una fuerza armada junto al pueblo, fusionada, adiestrada, entrenada, moralizada. Por ninguna circunstancia permitiremos la invasión de un imperio. Si la patria nos necesita, si la patria demanda nuestras vidas, denos la orden y saldremos en este instante a defenderla.
En estos momentos donde el imperialismo amenaza de manera ilegal, arbitraria, mentirosa, falsaria, arrogante, amenaza a nuestra patria, nuestro pueblo, los jóvenes acuden por miles a integrarse a la Fuerza Armada Nacional Bolivariana.
Earlier this year, Birthright citizenship demonstrators raised their voices outside the Supreme Court. Advocates were calling for the right enshrined in the 14th Amendment to remain intact. They say they don't agree with President Trump's executive order seeking to deny U.S. citizenship to children born on American soil to non-citizen parents.
One more right he's trying to take from us, and I don't agree with how many rights he's trying to strip.
The country's highest court is now taking up the constitutionality of President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. The Trump administration's order says children born on U.S. soil to parents who are in the country temporarily or without legal authorization will be denied U.S. citizenship, an action some bipartisan immigration reform groups believe could have widespread implications.
Think about if you were having a kid for a second, and based on where the ambulance took you, you might have different citizenship for a child. You might get checked for your citizenship.
This summer, the justices heard oral arguments about whether lower court judges have the legal power to impose nationwide injunctions blocking executive actions across the country. Ultimately, in a 6-3 vote, the court ruled to limit nationwide injunctions in birthright citizenship cases. With the High Court expected to hear and rule on the future of birthright citizenship, immigration rights groups say it's a decision that's been heard and determined before.
This has been the case, not just in the 14th Amendment. It's been affirmed by the Supreme Court 4 times over the last century and a half. This is settled opinion. This is settled law.
The Supreme Court is expected to hear arguments next year and will likely hand down a decision by the end of June. In the district, Dominique Moody, News 4.
Now, there is no official military base here, but only in the few hours since we arrived, we've seen a fairly regular coming and going of military assets. Hovercraft, these amphibious military vehicles used to transport equipment and personnel both on land and sea, have been arriving and departing from the small port, where 2 warships are also docked, with more offshore. And not long ago, a couple of hundred soldiers were bussed away from here, presumably to one of the military bases on the island. Now, a few kilometers from here at the local airport, Osprey aircraft have also been loading and unloading supplies, piquing the interest of local residents and aviation enthusiasts alike.
I do know of many people here that are concerned about the situation between the United States and Venezuela, but I don't think we'll be affected here. It shouldn't affect us to have this military presence here. On the contrary, it is a good thing.
It's been a week now since President Donald Trump last alluded to a direct military attack on Venezuela. And as the days pass and military activity increases on this island, a U.S. territory some 800 kilometers from Venezuela, tension in the region grows, something that Washington is hoping will eventually force Nicolás Maduro from power. Julia Galliano, Ponce, Puerto Rico.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.
The Caribbean is becoming the world's newest flashpoint, and the showdown between the United States and Venezuela is accelerating faster than anyone expected. Newly released footage shows U.S. Marines from the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit storming warfare boats off the USS San Antonio, opening fire on targets floating in the dark water. It's all part of Operation Southcom, a Southcom mission aimed at destroying what Washington claims are Venezuelan narco boats. According to the Pentagon, the U.S. has now carried out 21 strikes since September, killing at least 82 alleged narco-terrorists. But Caracas sees something very different. Venezuelan officials condemned the attacks as imperialistic, an attempt to force regime change, and possibly even the prelude to an invasion. At a recent rally in Caracas, President Nicolás Maduro fired back. "We want peace," he declared, "but not a slave's peace." He accused Washington of orchestrating an international campaign to topple him, even as U.S. warships, including the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, circled the Caribbean in the biggest military buildup there in decades. Behind the scenes, the picture is even more complicated. President Donald Trump has privately spoken with Maduro for the first time since returning to office. The two even discussed a possible meeting and potential amnesty terms if Maduro were to step down.
Does your warning mean that an airstrike is imminent, or should we not read it that way?
Don't read anything into it.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't do that.
Mr. President, would you say it went well?
I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call. Yeah.
And I say more. If that phone call means that there are steps being taken towards a respectful dialogue between the two states from country to country, then welcome the dialogue, welcome the diplomacy, because we'll always welcome the dialogue and the peace. Welcome dialogue, welcome diplomacy, welcome the peace. Peace, yes. War, never. Never in the life.
Yet at the same time, Trump has authorized covert action against Venezuela and warned publicly that strikes may soon expand from offshore boats to targets inside the country. More than 15,000 U.S. personnel have already been deployed in the region. Legal experts are sounding alarms. They say the U.S. boat strikes violate the laws of armed conflict, especially after reports that one strike on September 2 included a follow-up attack on survivors. Congress members of both parties have launched investigations, questioning the role of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and whether war powers were misused. But still, Venezuela braces for what comes next. Maduro has beefed up his security with Cuban officers, constantly shifts locations, and relies on colectivos, armed pro-government militias ready to defend the regime. But analysts warn Venezuela's aging military, despite 150,000 troops and foreign-supplied weapons, may not withstand a full-scale U.S. assault.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan held a phone call with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, an exchange that underscored Ankara's growing role as both mediator and potential refuge in one of Washington's most contentious standoffs. According to Turkish presidential sources, Erdogan emphasized the importance of maintaining open communication channels between the United States and Venezuela. He expressed hope that tensions, sharpened by years of U.S. sanctions and a recent American military buildup in the Caribbean, could be eased through dialogue rather than confrontation. The call also highlighted the deepening relationship between NATO nation Turkey and Venezuela, a partnership that has accelerated dramatically since 2016. Once barely engaged, the two nations now share expanding economic ties, direct flight routes, and a political alignment shaped by mutual frustration with Western pressure. Gold exports alone surged to nearly $900 million in 2018, part of a broader cooperation that saw 23 tons of Venezuelan gold shipped to Istanbul for processing. Erdogan was one of the few world leaders to openly back Maduro during Venezuela's 2019 political crisis, condemning Juan Guaido's attempts to claim the presidency and insisting that only elections could define Venezuela's leadership. Their relationship continued through high-level visits, including Erdogan's trip to Caracas in 2018 and multiple visits by Maduro to Turkey. But today, that relationship carries new significance. According to an analysis published by The Washington Post last week, Turkey has quietly emerged as the most likely destination for Maduro should he decide or be forced to leave Venezuela under growing U.S. pressure. After a 2024 election rejected by the U.S. and dozens of other nations, Maduro faces mounting international scrutiny, federal indictments, and a $50 million reward for his capture. People familiar with internal U.S. discussions told the Post that Turkey offers something no other country can: security, political protection, long-standing financial ties, and a leader Maduro personally trusts. Erdogan's congratulations after Maduro's disputed election last year and their long history of cooperation only deepen this perception. Other nations such as Russia, Cuba, and Iran remain allies, but each presents limitations: economic collapse, restricted freedoms, or reduced visibility. Turkey, by contrast, positions itself as a regional power and global intermediary, useful both to Washington and to those seeking protection from it. For the U.S., a Turkish exile from Maduro could achieve strategic goals without driving him further toward Moscow or Tehran. For Ankara, it could become leverage in negotiations over military and economic concessions from Washington. Neither country has confirmed such discussions, but analysts increasingly agree on one point. If Maduro ever leaves Caracas, his most likely destination is neither Moscow nor Havana, but Ankara.
We all truly need to remember that approximately 4 months ago, more or less, I believe it was specifically August 8th, direct and serious threats against our beloved country began to emerge. These threats have continued every single day since then. And our esteemed brother, President Nicolas Maduro, as he always does, truly took decisive command and firmly stated, maintain calm and composure, possess nerves of absolute steel, and ensure maximum, unwavering mobilization of all our efforts and popular organization. He immediately called for us to enlist in the militia, and the people of Venezuela hurried to sign up, just as Jose Gregorio Hernandez did when they tried to blockade Venezuela, to invade Venezuela, European powers with the support of North American imperialism to take over. Strange things with our oil, to take over strange things with our oil. More than a century has passed, more than a century, a long century, and they have not given up on their obsession. They have not given up at all. You are witnesses then to how many threats, a psychological terrorism against our people, against women, against children, against the armed forces, against, well, families with threats, and some media outlets aiming directly at the head of a people, and some pseudo-journalists or paid hacks who get paid for every message they send. And the more deceitful or sensationalist it is, the more they get paid. And the president, in the midst of that battle, said, let's call to the crucial plenary session of the party's 5th Congress. And so the esteemed president called us, even in the midst of the intense attacks. He specifically called the plenary session of the party's 5th Congress and also the 4th Congress of the JPSU. And there he thoughtfully gave us very clear and precise instructions and said, look, the organizational structure that the party has effectively had up to this point, with dedicated street leaders and committed community leaders, has truly been a tremendously powerful and indispensable tool for successfully resisting the numerous battles and challenges we've consistently faced. But it was necessary to make the organizational leap from individual leadership to collective command, to collective leadership. That's why the president spoke about the Bolivarian committees of comprehensive grassroots. We are in a peaceful revolution. Completely and utterly peaceful, but it is truly not an unarmed revolution, rather a significant and impactful movement. We are in a scenario of unarmed struggle. That's the scenario we face every day. Or do you think that when imperialism says it's going to station an aircraft carrier, it's not a direct threat to our people? The largest aircraft carriers in the world right in front of Venezuela, such a small country. That if I don't know how many planes fly over and every day there's a new threat, why do they do it? Because they think they're going to break us with fear. But they don't know us. They don't know what we're made of. This is a people that will not surrender. And anyone who messes with Venezuela should be very clear that it won't be a matter of 48 hours. It won't be a matter of 3 days. It won't be a matter of a month. Ask the Spanish how long it lasted and what happened to them at the end of that battle. What happened to them after that battle. So the esteemed president directs us to meticulously prepare to transition from unarmed struggle to armed struggle.
Acto que será liderado por el comandante general de la Guardia de Honor Presidencial para los más de 1000 jóvenes que serán juramentados hoy de las 8 otras actividades. Vemos
Javier José Marcano Tabata, comandante de unidades superiores, comandante de regiones y directores de línea de la Dirección General de
militar con una formación ardua en distintas especializaciones para luego ir
Estoy dando lucidez a este significativo acto de juramentación del contingente.
It's going to happen very soon, folks. We're going to invade Venezuela. It will be a coup d'etat. Maduro will be removed. And they'll install a complete new administration that will be extremely friendly to the United States of America, all our energy companies, ExxonMobil, et cetera, and the natural resources of Venezuela will be partnered with the United States and international vulture capitalists friendly with the Trump administration to divest those natural resources and assets. So all the cronies and oligarchs can get even more wealthy. We'll see if it trickles down to the Venezuelans, but they know what's coming. They know how America acts. They're very familiar with how the CIA infiltrates countries, does regime change, installs puppets friendly with the United States. It's happened all over South America, Central America, Caribbean. Stay tuned. I'll give you more updates as I get more information. But the buildup is obvious. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you for spending your time, money, and energy over here watching my little show. I do appreciate it. God bless you all. Have an awesome weekend.